Welcome to Digital Marketing ROI, the podcast that connects marketing to your business's revenue and covers everything you need to know to stay up to date in this crazy digital marketing world.
Welcome to Digital Marketing ROI. I'm your host, Crystal Vivian. Shannon is out today. We've taken over the podcast, and today I am joined by my social team, Joe Kuharich and Melissa Wyrick.
Hello, it's a social takeover.
Social takeover.
Yes, we're taking over the podcast. We told Shannon she'd don't come. And
She's banging on the door right now.
yeah, she's like, let me in. We do this podcast every year where we get together, the three of us, and talk about social media trends for the next year. It's one of my favorite conversations because you guys do so much work for our clients working on their social media to build their brands, to connect with their target audiences. But you guys are really kind of behind the scenes. And this is my chance to put you in the spotlight and let your brilliance shine. I'm very excited to do that.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
I was thinking it's nice to get out from behind a monitor and in front of a mic.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh, I'm glad you guys are looking forward to it and not nervous about it. But it is just a microphone, not a camera.
Right.
Yeah, right.
We're chilling.
Next year, it'll be a camera.
Oh my gosh.
We are planning something that Shannon and I want to do. We talked about doing it this year, and then with everything, it just didn't work out. But we're working on, in our Kalamazoo office, building a studio where we can do video podcasts.
Very cool.
Good thing I can blur my face in that edit.
Do it for me too.
Today, we are talking about social media trends that business owners need to be aware of in the year 2026, which is happening in just a few weeks. The first trend, if you have on your bingo card or if you placed a DraftKings bet, that our first trend would be AI.
You won.
You won.
Ding, ding, ding.
It is AI, but it's not just AI in general. There's really a paradox here with AI. Everyone's talking about using AI in marketing and using AI for social media. What does that actually look like? How are people actually using it?
Yeah, I think AI has been with us in marketing for two and a half years now. And I think when we originally started, we all thought, oh, it's going to be this thing that's going to be fantastic and a magic bullet and fix a lot of stuff. And the reality is that just hasn't quite happened. I think it's because we have this idea that it's way smarter than it actually is because we use intelligence in the name. People are using it a lot, but it hasn't had that massive shift that we all expected.
Because it's not true intelligence. Like people think it's not some creature sitting behind the motherboard. It's great at pattern recognition. It's not actually thinking. It's searching for patterns and responding to you, the human.
And so I think even though we've all adopted it a lot more and it's become a lot more mainstream, the real cases are not going to be replacing our brains. For what we're finding, uses like analytics, it can go through massive amounts of data a lot easier and more efficiently than the human brain can. And we've used it for content creation, but I think we've all probably seen the AI slop just filling our feeds. And you can just tell it's not good.
And if you have a trained eye, you can tell when captions are written by AI and not refined by a human. And it makes those who love M-dashes like us very sad.
That is a real fight.
That is a real fight. I saw a meme a couple weeks ago about somebody had ChatGPT apologize for ruining the M-dash. It's like, that is so good.
Punishment.
I think you're both right. So AI is not really intelligence, especially tools like ChatGPT and Claude. I love that you made that point because so many times we think it is a brain, it is intelligent, and it isn't. It is just pattern recognition and taking all of the language and spitting it back out in patterns that we recognize or that it recognizes. And I think like one of the things that I was talking about with somebody else on our team recently was one of the things that we're doing for 2026 is AI answer blogs, where we can create content for our clients that will get them to appear in AI searches. When people are asking ChatGPT or Claude, where is the best place to get an auto loan? Or where's the best place to buy new tires right now? We can have our clients pop up as answers from ChatGPT or Claude because we can manipulate it. And if we can manipulate it as marketers, then that means that it's taking what we're putting into it and it's just spitting it back out. So we want to be very, very critical of that. Joe, you mentioned the AI slop. Let's talk a little bit more about that. And Melissa, you mentioned like being able to recognize in captions. Have you guys been seeing a lot of AI content and how do you recognize it?
Yeah, I've started noticing a lot of video. I would see the text-based things or images on blogs that people were posting, or a long post and you'd have a made-up image. But now I've started even seeing the video stuff. The fascinating thing about that is it is engaging. It's caused me to stop and look. And I'm like, oh, what is this? And then very quickly you realize this is not something that's happening. Like I saw one recently of a man who was fighting a black bear, and all these people are watching him like fist fight this black bear. And then the guy goes down and the bear just runs at the audience, but no one in the audience moves. Like, no way. Like,
right. You have to have a critical eye when you watch this stuff, because my mom, who's 62, she'll send me these videos on Instagram that are not like ultra dramatic, like the black bear. It'll be like always security footage. That's like AI videos, like favorite format lately. And she'll send me ones of like a baby and a dog both howling. With videos now, you have to think, would this actually happen? Why would somebody be filming right now? Why is there a Ring camera in their bedroom in the corner of the ceiling? And like that video that everybody fell for on TikTok with that lady laying in bed with the cats running around her like crazy. And people were like, oh, cats are just like that. Well, it was AI. Like, you have to have a trained eye and look very closely, because now it's more than just like AI can't make hands. It's way better than it was just a year ago. But you have to have a trained eye.
Yeah, you have to think, like, is this something that would actually happen? Even then, is it real?
Right. You have
and that's kind of scary.
To think, take a minute, be entertained for a moment, and then be like, wait, am I being entertained by AI? And if you are, that's fine. But it's important to know when it's AI.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, on the text-based side of things, we mentioned the M-dashes before, but it's things like that where you start to see a lot of emojis posts from a certain brand, like excessive. And I'm not talking, one or two. I'm talking like
it's
half the post is emojis.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's things like that, or certain phrases. So you just start seeing.
Honestly, this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's not this, it's that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I see that a lot, and it drives me crazy. Sometimes it'll be in an email where somebody is talking about how to better use AI tools.
Oh,
and
my
I'm
gosh.
like, did you use AI to write this?
I think you need to learn how to better use AI tools.
One thing that you said, Joe, that I wanted to touch on real quick, because I think this is a good point for something that we're going to talk about later, is you started to watch that video because it was engaging. What makes it engaging?
There was, for me, for that one in particular, it was interesting. It was action. There were people in it, always grabs and stops attention. And it started right in the moment.
There was a guy fighting a bear.
And it was a guy fighting a bear. I mean, frankly, that's entertaining. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, it's not good for either person, the bear or the guy.
It sparks that curiosity emotion, and then you want to know more. That's a great takeaway for what type of content we as business owners should be creating, but we shouldn't be relying on AI to overdo it. So how do you guys recommend business owners integrate AI into their content creation process so that we're not creating fake videos or using it in a way where it just becomes really obvious text-based? Because I do think that while we can recognize it now, I think in 2026, the average person will be able to recognize it a lot more.
I feel like the more people see it on their feeds and the more they get told, oh, this is AI, then it's like you start to have that pattern recognition in your own brain. So we can have pattern recognition too, AI.
Yeah, and I think the AI, like, that's why you notice those patterns, is because it's dumping out information that it thinks we want to see. And so it's finding the pattern of this is a social media post or that's a social media post. And so it just feeds that back to us. And while, yes, that may be a social media post, it may not be a good post. So you're just getting massive quantities of it regurgitating what it's seen as the pattern, and then that's what it's giving you back. There are ways, I think, that you can use that successfully to give you ideas, and then you can create better content from those ideas. It's fantastic for coming up with a plan or a thought process.
For sure.
And then you take over
or an
as
outline.
the human, or an outline.
Yeah. Gives you the first few steps, brainstorming.
Sure, like staring at that blank page is so intimidating sometimes. Just type into Claude, help me brainstorm a content calendar for my client who is a local appliance store. It's the month of January. They like humor, they like relatability, and they like this or that post. Claude will spit out those parameters, and then you can work with that and make it your own. I would never copy and paste exactly what they spit out because it's not quite the tone. You want to add your humanness to it, but they'll get you started. AI will get you started, and that's really helpful. It's like a partner. It's not a replacement. It's a partner.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point too, Melissa, is because it's regurgitating so much information, posts that are written by people are going to stand out a lot more. Then you're really going to start recognizing, oh, this was AI. This is not a person that created
It's
it.
that warmth and that personality behind it. Like, it will try to replicate that personality and the humor, but like, it's never quite that human feel. It's just not.
Yeah.
Stuck in a uncanny valley of words.
Yes,
Polar Express
100%.
vibe.
Tom Hanks, stay away.
The little girl with the hot chocolate.
Yeah.
I will often use AI or use Claude, and I will ask it to come up with a beginning line or topic ideas. Sometimes I'll ask it to criticize something I wrote. And that is really helpful.
I've never thought of that.
It actually is really helpful because it acts kind of like an English teacher a little bit. There's some advice where I'm like, I disagree with that entirely. But I'm using my trained, educated writer brain to recognize that. But then there's times where it's like, okay, that is the feedback that I needed. And I could have bothered one of you with it.
Right.
Or I could have just asked AI real quick.
Right.
And sometimes I still do bother you guys and ask you like, hey, can you look at this or give me feedback or help me brainstorm this? I think that's still better, but if we can use it to make us work a little bit faster, that's going to be more effective.
Faster is the key.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the other point to make is it making you more efficient? If it's not making you more efficient,
It's
why
not
are you
worth
doing
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You have to make your content better, but the efficiency is the key.
Yes. And I think if we can use it to take up like 80% of the grunt work of the creative process, and then we can really spend our time maximizing our creativity and putting that to work, I think that's going to be a lot better quality product in the end. You can have it give you an idea for a caption, but don't have it write your caption. You can use it to create an element of an image that you want to create in your graphics, but using it to create your entire graphic, it's very obviously AI created. So my husband recently has been listening to AI created music on YouTube. And so they're taking popular songs and reimagining them into a different genre. He's a musician. So he's listening to it and he's like, it's too smooth. He was listening to the 1950s jazz version of Forgot About Dre by Dr. Dre and Eminem. It's actually really good, but there is like an uncanny valley smoothness to it. It sounds too perfect. And it feels like a car crash because I feel like I want to listen to it again and it gets stuck in my head more than regular music does. Everything's an earworm to me, but that especially becomes an earworm. And it's because it's too perfect.
Yeah.
You need that human element to actually be meaningful. It's catchy, but it's not good.
In music, I feel like the human, like when you hear somebody breathe, like I listen to a lot of classical music and I can even hear the violinist breathe. I want to hear that. I want to realize that there's a human behind these notes playing it. That's what makes it so enjoyable to listen to and so impactful for me.
Well, and the quote is, to err is human.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what AI misses is AI doesn't make a mistake.
Right.
Like you said, Crystal, it gives you exactly what you asked for. There's no mistake in what it gave you.
The mistake, it's on you for how
It's
you
on you.
worded the prompt.
Well,
But that's where innovation comes from.
Right.
We make a mistake and we're like, oh, like
learn.
I strummed this chord wrong and that was an interesting sound. Like, let's play with that a little. You know, AI is never going to be able to do that.
I agree with you 100%, but I want to push back a little bit on the AI doesn't make mistakes. AI straight up lies.
Well, it
that's
does,
true.
yeah.
Very
It is
true.
a lying liar who lies.
Yes. And
You sit on a throne of lies.
you bunk links that like don't go anywhere. Like it'll
Yes.
have the statistics won't even be on the web page, and it's like you just put this because I asked for it. You didn't look that it existed.
It is an affirmation machine.
Yeah.
It will tell you you're pretty.
Yeah.
It will tell you that you have no flaws. It will tell you everything that you want to hear and nothing that it doesn't think that you want to hear. AI is the ultimate people pleaser.
Yeah,
That is dangerous.
I was just about to say dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have to be very careful of it. We can't trust it to take over entire tasks or to replace people because just like that, where I pushed back on you, AI is
Right.
never going to push back on
No.
me. AI will literally, and you'll say,
Oh, you're right.
you were wrong.
Two
you're
is
right.
five.
I
You're right.
was wrong about that.
apologize.
Yeah.
So, yeah, AI is perfect.
Right.
It's not in that sense.
That's
Perfect.
Yes, yes, 100%. So let's talk about the next trend now, which kind of feeds a little bit from the AI and really like the overwhelming of content. The second trend that business owners need to be aware of for 2026 is that we are on social media now more than ever. We are fighting a battle for attention. We're not just competing against other brands in our industry or our competitors. We're competing for people's attention amongst their family and their friends and their wedding photos and their new promotion or new milestone.
Baby announcement.
Yes. People are engaging with their friends and family in the same platforms that they're engaging with brands on. You're also competing with other ads. You're competing with every business that is fighting for attention. People spend an average of 2 hours and 21 minutes on social media every single day. And that's been pretty stable for the last several years. But there's more content than ever. And we're also really separated into niches of content. And somebody will ask me, oh, have you seen this? And I'm like, no, because it's not in my wheelhouse, not on my unique feed. Gone are the days where we were all watching Letterman at night. We're not all watching the same things. And our social media is drastically different and custom to us individually.
It's so addicting. It's like tailor-made for you, scrolling.
And that's their goal, is to get us to keep scrolling. But as business owners, we have to play by those rules. We have to, it's Facebook sandbox or Instagram sandbox or LinkedIn sandbox. We have to play by their rules in order to be served into people's feeds. Once we're served, we better hope that we're capturing the attention of people. So that's my question for you guys, is how do we create content as businesses that actually captures attention and connects with people and isn't just something that people are just going to scroll on by?
I think you made an excellent point. When you're just kind of scrolling and you're doing all this competition. I find myself, even recently, I'll scroll through my feed. I'll see one post from someone I know of 10.
Yeah.
And then the other 9 are sponsored posts, pages that the algorithm thinks I should follow, which is just totally random stuff. So you really do have to create something as a brand that people are going to find interesting enough, because you may get served into someone's feed like that. You have to be engaging enough and relatable enough that they're going to stop that scroll, like that video that caused me to stop. Wasn't a page that I followed. So it's got to be something that provides value to the audience that's going to see your stuff. And you have to remember, this isn't always going to be your followers that are seeing this. This is going to just be people on the feed. So you have to open it up to the audience that you want, not just the followers that you have.
I think that we should just stop worrying about followers entirely, because just because somebody follows your page does not guarantee that they're going to see it. Most of the time, the algorithms are serving your content to non-followers to get them to follow your page and see your content more often. But yeah, gone are the days where having 50,000 followers really matters anymore. Because even the pages that have 50,000 followers, if you look at their engagement, they're getting like maybe 10 people to engage with a post. That's not a lot.
And I feel like pages that have 50,000 followers, like they could have bought those followers. They're concentrated a lot on sales and promotional posts. And we know that that does not stop people from scrolling. What stops people from scrolling is telling a story. People remember stories. They don't remember promotions. They don't remember random discounts. Humans love storytelling. That's our whole thing.
Yeah, it's probably our oldest art form.
Yeah.
Telling these stories, and not even necessarily with speech, pictures and things like that. But I think that's a good point too, Melissa, that you're bringing up the 50,000 followers and things like that. For social media managers and business owners who are running their social media, it's smart not to just follow those brands to see what they're doing, like the Duolingos and things like that are doing all that engagement. Follow the boring brands.
Right.
Follow people who aren't doing that and see what they're doing, because they could be doing interesting things and just don't have that follower base.
Right.
So it's worth your time to check out notoriety. Yeah.
Well, you can still have a lot of success as a business on social media if you have 10 or 15 people who are regularly engaging with your content. Those people are more likely to buy from you than 50,000 people who liked your page once and never see your content again. So I think that's a really important point. What should businesses be thinking about or asking themselves when they're creating content to make sure that it does capture their attention? So you guys talked about stories. I want you to talk about 2 things here. Is one, starting with that interesting hook, but more than anything, from the audience's perspective and making it relatable.
That's what I was about to say.
Okay, cool. All right. Whoever wants to answer that, or however you want to go.
I'll do the from the audience perspective first.
Okay.
So you have to step out of your own shoes as a business owner. Like a lot of people might say, I don't find that interesting. Well, that's you. You have to really know your customer base and what they find interesting, what would make them stop scrolling. So thinking from your audience perspective is so important, because you're catering your content to them.
Well, and they're not going through their day saying, I wonder what's going on with XYZ.
Right.
They're thinking about themselves when they're on their phone
and
scrolling.
What's relevant to their life. Yes.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah, and I think you really only have a few seconds to grab somebody's attention. So practicing and mastering how to hook your audience into your post is going to be really beneficial. And there's ways that I think AI can help you with that too. You can go back and ask for some ideas, or
how could I have made this post better? How could I have caught people's attention sooner in this video?
Exactly.
I have a man fighting a black bear.
How effective would that be? But yeah, it can help you look back at posts that you've already done and give you feedback and things like that. The more often you're working on that hook, those first 3 seconds, I think the more effective your content is going to be overall.
You could even show it a page that really does well on hooking people in the first few seconds. Give it a few example posts of that page and be like, show me what exactly worked for these posts and how can I make it work for my posts? Give me some pointers on how to do that and let's brainstorm together.
And the only pitfall not to fall into there is doing the same thing over and over. Try out new hooks, try out different things, because you never know what's going to resonate with your audience.
Right. And you think they're great and then they don't hit.
And
that's fine.
Some things may flop in January and then be a slam dunk in June.
Repost your content that you think is interesting, especially if it performed well, but even if it didn't perform as well, but you're like, no, this has a strong hook, repost it again. I think that's a great point.
I just did that for one of my January calendars.
It works.
Snow shoveling post.
Love that in January. Love that in December too. But the other point that I wanted to make with that, or the other idea that I wanted to talk about with that, is asking AI. You can ask AI for hooks. You can also ask AI for pain points that your customer is dealing with or emotions connected to this problem that you're trying to talk about. So if you know that you want to create a topic about snow shoveling, post about snow shoveling, you can ask AI to give you lists of ideas, a list of 10 ideas of what do people hate the most about snow shoveling, or what do people complain about the most with snow shoveling. And then that can help you with your hook.
This is not exactly tied to that, but I just had a different thought. Like my mom walked in and saw me creating this snow shoveling post for this client. And she said, do they sell shovels? And I said, no, they don't sell shovels, but like people who shop here shovel their snow and they're thinking about themselves when they're scrolling.
They own their home. They're reaching homeowners.
Exactly. I was like, no, they don't sell shovels, but that's not what matters in this context. So it was a good little learning moment.
Aw, your mom's going to be a social media specialist soon.
You made a comment, Crystal, that I wanted to pick up on. I think when we think about AI, we think about telling it to do something, but we don't think about asking it questions or asking it to give us feedback. That's where it can really shine because it makes pattern recognition that you might not have thought of. Having that back and forth conversation like a partner, that's where it's really going to help you find the solution to your problem.
I actually learned from you that after you give it a prompt to say, if you have any questions, please ask.
Yeah.
And it will help you refine your prompt by answering the questions that it does have for you.
That's the thing. It's a computer.
Right.
It's a program. And so it thinks like a program. And that's why it makes mistakes because it's literally doing what it was told. Like it's following those steps algorithmically. Yes. And so it's going to give you exactly what it thinks you want.
Yeah.
Because it's a program.
Yes.
So if you ask it follow-up questions or tell me what I didn't tell you, which I think is great in real life too. Like, what did I not, what are you hearing? What did you not hear? That's a great communication skill,
Crystal
but it works for the
says,
computer.
What questions do you have? And not, do you have questions?
Right.
Yes. Yes. Because you better ask me a question. But it takes off the pressure of like, well, no, I don't have any questions because you feel like you shouldn't have questions, but I want you to ask questions. And we should be asking a lot more questions. Just as a species, we should be asking a lot more questions of our friends and of our family. I think that questions are our most powerful tool that we don't use enough of in language.
And that ties back to social media too, is because we're trying to connect with people. Brands are trying to connect with their audience. If you want to be a brand that cares about your audience, you should be asking them how they're doing. It doesn't have to be a straight up, how are you doing? You can ask in subtle ways.
Yeah, a this or that post or a temperature check. Or, yes, absolutely.
I have a client whose audience loves to give their opinions. It's because who doesn't love to give their opinions? Like we all want to be heard.
100%.
So it's like give people the platform to feel heard and you'll get that engagement that you're looking for.
I want to, because we're going a little bit long and I want to just wrap up my second to last question. I have two more questions for you guys. The first one is, we talk about this every year, but what platforms should businesses be focusing on in 2026?
Obviously, the one that comes to mind first is always going to be Facebook. People are still on Facebook. And by proxy, Instagram. Those are the two big boys in the room that are always going to be priorities.
Gen Alphas might not think that people are still on Facebook, but they are.
The data says otherwise.
Yes.
Your feelings don't matter. The data says otherwise.
Right.
But I think a big surprise one that we're going to see a lot more of is LinkedIn. And people are using it in a different way, and it's kind of become this forgotten platform. Finally, I think people have come around to the realization that it's a platform where people are having conversation and actually taking the time to stop and read.
I feel like there used to be this whole stigma around it where it was stodgy and stuffy and it was, but it's not. Like, people showcase their professional personalities on there. Like, it's not all boring and Snorland.
And it's not just job applications, because
Right.
I think a lot of people have that idea too, that I go there and that's where I look for a job or connect for people
Right.
for a job. But it is great for networking with people in your same industry. As a brand, you need to think about if your audience is spending time on that platform and how you can connect your message to them. Because in some cases, it will make sense, but not in every case.
Right.
Because there are some businesses who might have some employees who are likely to be on LinkedIn and some employees who are not. You might have office workers who are more likely to be on LinkedIn, but your laborers may never be on
Right.
LinkedIn, but you're hiring both. You also want to be connected with other businesses too. So it's not just about finding applicants. It's also about connecting with other businesses in the area. And so especially if you're a B2B business, LinkedIn is really big. I think of LinkedIn, the evolution of LinkedIn. People are wearing a lot more jeans and they are talking a lot more openly about what it's like to actually be a human at
Yeah.
work. And
It's
I get
refreshing.
it's really refreshing. I get a lot of education on LinkedIn. I follow a lot of people who are talking about marketing and digital marketing and connecting with people. People are talking about their real experiences and about being a working mom or being a remote employee versus being an office employee or being hybrid and the pitfalls and pros of both those. I think that's really, really powerful.
It's telling their story in a more business professional setting,
Right.
because that is a different part of us. We all wear different faces
Right.
throughout our day and throughout our life. And that's just a different part of us. And that's an audience there that wants to hear that story.
Right.
People may not want to hear that story on Facebook,
Or Instagram.
but they do want to hear that on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And as a brand, it's okay if half of your audience is your employees.
Right.
You should be serving them as well.
And
They will share your posts.
Sharing
Exactly
is
right.
caring.
Absolutely. Long text posts perform really well on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like, yes, do video, do carousel posts, like all of the other standard content formats that work on the other platforms are great. But long posts, text only,
That's what people really want on LinkedIn. They're looking for information. People on Facebook and Instagram aren't always looking for the long form, especially on Instagram.
but if you think about it, people on Instagram are in the checkout line.
Right.
They're scrolling it in the
Fast.
evening. They're relaxing or they're trying to pass time
Yeah.
or they're doing a brain break. People are intentionally choosing LinkedIn. Like, no
Right.
one's passively going to LinkedIn
No.
to just scroll through and see what's
Right.
going on. And if you are, you might have a social media problem.
Right.
But most people are intentionally going to LinkedIn for a purpose, and they are still scrolling through because there's still an algorithm and they're still trying to find content, but it is about connecting and learning. All right. Last question. We always talk about this every episode. We always end with ROI. So in 2026, what is the ROI of social media content, of effectively using social media content to engage with your audiences?
Well, I think it's about realizing that you're never going to be able to successfully manage it if you don't really understand what it is that you're measuring. Things have changed at the end of the year here, and they're changing into 2026. The things that we used to track don't matter as much anymore. We talked about not worrying about followers. That's not really telling us the story, and it's not really giving us an effective means to understand the ROI of what we're doing. We really need to take a dedicated approach to looking at how our content is working each month and deciding if it's working for us.
Mm.
Oh, go ahead, Melissa.
I was just going to say, if something is continually not working, there's no reason to keep publishing that type of post.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Yeah, you can try for a few months. If it continuously doesn't get engagement, trash it. Just move on to the next idea. You don't have to get stuck in something that's not working. Just don't worry about churning out a post every single day or multiple posts a day. You want to concentrate on quality over quantity. That's where the humanness comes in over AI. AI could make 50 posts a month for your business, but that's not what you want. You want 3 times 5, 12 to 15 quality posts that a human was behind, rather than just content mill posts that your followers see and say, boring, scroll. So you want the quality that people stop and say, oh, I'm going to respond to that. Or I'm going to share that. I really like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
That doesn't mean don't be consistent.
Right.
So, yes, you should not be, like you said, Melissa, churning out 50 posts, but be consistent about good quality posts.
And that's where an agency like us can come in with consistency.
You're exactly right.
I like your plug
We're
there.
very consistent.
Yes. Well, being consistent, but also consistent quality. Right. I love that point because one of the things that we've been talking a lot more with our clients lately is frequency. We are posting 12 to 15 times in a month, but any one person who sees your content might see 1 or 2 of your posts. Right. You want to be consistent in the quality and make sure that you're focusing on quality because that's your one chance that month to be in front of that person and you want to make an impression because that's your first impression. And if you make a great impression and they engage with your content, then the algorithm is going to show them more of your content. Right. We know that businesses are never going to get a high frequency where the majority of your audience is seeing 3 or 4 of your posts a month, but your top fans will. And you'll see that by them engaging with you on a regular basis.
Make sure you're creating stuff that is engaging and that people are going to want to share. You know, that will go further for you than anything else.
I think that's great. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. We had an opportunity to say, what questions do you have? Crystal.
What questions do you have for me?
What makes you stop scrolling, Crystal?
That's a great question.
Oh, man, that's a great question. So I am a little bit more curated about my social media experience because I know how much this works. On Facebook, I'm looking at the Friends tab and I am trying to see the majority of my friends' content. What makes me stop scrolling is seeing my friends do awesome things. Yeah. So that's what I get really excited about. I will say on Instagram, I follow a lot of brands because their products solve a problem in my life or their content solves a problem that I want to focus on and improve. If it's really compelling, if it tells a story in a way, makes me be like, oh yeah, this is my story. That I know this story because I'm living it. That's what gets me to stop scrolling.
In terms of getting started with social media, if you're a brand that hasn't been doing this, what is something you wish every brand would know?
Start on a platform where your target audience is spending time, especially for local businesses, and go all in on it and go and experiment and know that 90% of what you're going to create is going to flop. You get through it. And if you find a couple of things that are starting to gain traction, it's going to take you 6 months before you start to gain any kind of real traction. But if you can do that, and if you can start experimenting with it and you try different content types, you put yourself on camera, that's going to be a game changer for you. And you will see a big return on that. I think that's the best thing that you can do. Go all in on one platform, experiment like mad, and put yourself on camera.
That's great advice.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for asking me good questions. Yeah. So that is it for this week's episode of Digital Marketing ROI, talking about all things social media trends for 2026. We've got AI trying to break through and capture people's attention. We've got dealing with all of the different platforms and what to focus on. I think that is a really great conversation. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Melissa, for your time today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having
us. Awesome. Well, that's it. Thank you to our listeners for joining us today. We'll talk to you next time on the next episode of Digital Marketing ROI.
You've been listening to Digital Marketing ROI from Federated Digital Solutions. Do you have an idea for a future episode or a burning digital marketing question? Text ROI to 45364 to get a link where you can share your idea. Subscribe to get new episodes every other Thursday, plus Tip Tuesday insights every week.
Podcasts by Federated Media.